Hello and welcome back to the Shmuseum. Now this week things are a little bit different in here because none of the Black Series are here, as Tim has taken them away on the tour to Germany, and as a result we have a few guest cars such as Joe Achilles' BMW M3. Also, it means I'm on my own, so I've got ThruFilms behind the camera who has come and joined me, take a couple of photos of the car and help me out to capture what's going on here at this museum whilst Tim and Brad are away. Now, we've got a few things coming up this week. First of all is going to be Tony will be coming shortly to collect the Lamborghini Huracan STO and take that over to Topaz so it can start having the PPF done and we can get that out on the roads. Also, we need a few of the cars in here cleaned, such as the GR Yaris, the Focus, as they've been in daily use lately and they've got a bit of grime on them. The Porsche Taycan needs to head over to dealer to have the windscreen replaced, as we never managed to get that done during the preparations for Tim's trip. And also the V8 Vantage Roadster is going to be heading over to our friends at Whoops. We're going to be visiting them once again, and we're going to be getting the wheels on this done and starting the project of returning this to its former glory. And also, as we've mentioned, the tyres on this are fairly old, and we've got some brand new Michelin Pilot Sport 4S, pretty much the best all-round summer tyre you can get for a vehicle, and we're going to be getting those fitted as well. So let's go ahead and see what else comes up. Now, despite Tim having taken 4 cars away, it doesn't look that empty in here, of course, because last night was actually the first time we'd had all of the cars that are in the UK in one room together. Now we've got Phil's Audi just at the end there, and obviously we have Grilles, Joe Achilles' gorgeous BMW M3, and I can't actually decide between the two colours which I prefer. Maybe having them here over the course of the week will be able to help me out with that one. But first up on this week's agenda is to do with the Porsche Taycan. Now, as mentioned in the last video, this was meant to be dropped off at the dealer to deal with the rather large crack we've got going on in the windscreen, which doesn't really show up at the moment on the screen here. But I'm going to be jumping in this now, dropping it off to the dealership so we can finally get that replaced. So we have made it here to the Porsche dealership with the Taycan, so they'll be cracking on and getting the windscreen replaced very soon. However, cannot not point out the fact that we have an V12 Vantage over here, and most importantly, if we come and have a quick look inside, manual gear stick. So absolute legend whoever's driving this one, because that is a glorious car. Now let's go and give them the key and head back to this museum. And here is a great example of just how much the Huracan STO spits out of the exhaust. But also, as mentioned, we have ThruFilms here getting some shots of the Huracan just before it gets the yellow accents. So make sure you keep an eye out on social pages for those, and do check him out. Link will be in the description down below. And just like that, we are joined by Mr. Turbo Transport. Hello, Tony.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good.
Now, I guess next up, we're going to have to get this into your trailer, or in fact, you're going to have to get this into your trailer, so you probably want that one.
Yeah, let's go. For PPF.
Yes.
Ready for more adventures.
Yes, we'll get this all PPF protected, and then we can get it out on the road and start enjoying that glorious V10. So, next up, let's get this in the trailer. And just like that, the Huracan STO is in and loaded. Tony's just strapping it down now before he heads over to Topaz so we can get the PPF and get this out on the road and start enjoying it as soon as Tim is back from the current Black Series tour over in Germany. That is it, we're all done. As you've seen, the STO is now in the trailer. Tony, thank you very much for sorting this one out.
Pleasure.
And weirdly enough, we'll be seeing you again in a couple of days, won't we?
Yes, picking up something very nice.
Yes, because the 911 that's being stored here for a friend of Tim's, just over there, the gorgeous 1968 911L. Tony's going to be collecting that soon to get that on a plane to head back to the States. So we'll see you then, and let's see what's next on the list. Next up on the agenda is going to be the Aston Martin Vantage Roadster, and specifically the wheels and tyres. Now, if we come down here and have a look, as has previously been mentioned, these old tyres are the same ones, if we have a look at the date code, week 34 of 2011, which means these are the same ones that were on the car when Tim previously owned it all of those years back. Now, in the new ownership of it as well, the wheels have taken a bit of a battering, they've got some curb marks on them, and they're not perfect. So you wouldn't want to go putting brand new lovely tyres straight onto the old wheels. That's why we're going to get this over to the guys at Whoops Will Fix It, who are going to refurbish the wheels for us and then fit the new tyres, which have arrived, and they are the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. Now, in my opinion, these are pretty much the best tyre you're going to get for a performance vehicle that's not something more focused such as a Cup 2 or a Cup 2R. The grip levels they provide in the rain are absolutely phenomenal, and then in the summer and dry conditions, it's going to be more than enough for this thing. So without further ado, let's jump in, let's hit the road, and let's go and see the guys at Whoops. And we are on the road in the V8 Vantage Roadster. Now, as you may have noticed, I've got a bit of a problem in this car in that I'm a bit too tall for it and my head is constantly brushing against the roof, which isn't the most comfortable thing in the world. So realistically, you'd say, well, why don't you just put the roof down? But if you have a look outside, the clouds, well, they're not looking amazing at the moment. Admittedly, it's not raining currently, but it does look like it could at any moment, and the forecast is not great. So the last thing I'd want is for it to start raining whilst we're going around the motorway and end up having to panic about getting wet or stopping and trying to put the roof up. So we've left it up and I'm just having to deal with the headroom issues, but we're on the way. So let's go down and we'll go and see Simon and all the guys at Whoops and see exactly what we're going to do with these wheels. And we have made it to Whoops. We're here with Simon once again. Sorry to keep doing this to you.
No problem.
So you've had a quick look at the wheels.
Yeah.
And okay, I mean, why don't you let the guys know what you've just told me?
Right, so you've got your typical 12-year-old set of diamond cuts here. They've been done probably 2 or 3 times. So if you come in and have a look at this detail here, to recut a wheel, you rely on there being a step between the silver paintwork and the diamond cut face. And in that area there's absolutely no life compared to this area up here. So this wheel has been cut before buckled, hasn't been straightened before the lathe process, which means we can't cut it again. So talking with Tom, trying to keep it as OEM as possible, we're going to do similar to what we've done with the SLS, but this time we're going to lay it over a grey rather than a black to keep it really bright, and lay the gloss lacquer down. So these are going to end up really bright, really shiny, and complement the blue paintwork.
And that'll get them looking back to the way they should.
Yeah, they're going to look great in that colour.
And as the guys know, we're going to come and drop you some brand new Michelin Pilot Sport 4S on there as well. And then the wheels and tyres of the Vantage Roadster will be the way they should be, and then it will be on to the next stage of the process. So very quickly before we leave, we couldn't not stop and just point out we have Miss Emma Walsh's Mini GP3 down here to get some work done as well. Looking absolutely stunning. So just had to have a quick look at that one. Now let's head back to the Shmuseum. And we have made it back from Whoops. The Vantage Roadster is now going to be there for a couple of days while the guys sort out the wheels, and we'll drop off the new tyres shortly and they will come back looking pristine, and then it's on to the next part of the restoration of that car. Next up, the M3 is in need of a bit of a wash. This is one of the cars that was previously being used and hasn't been cleaned, well, since we fitted the Remus exhaust up at Motec. And as I'm sure you guys have seen from earlier on in the video, we also are currently looking after Joe Achilles' BMW M3, known as Grilles. Lovely plate on that one, by the way, Joe. Whilst those guys are away on the Black Series tour, which also, well, that's even more in need of a clean. So I think what we'll do is we'll take the M3 outside, get this cleaned up, get Joe's M3 cleaned up, and then Ali from ThruFilms behind the camera is going to get some photos of those, which you will probably see on the Shmuseum and his page very soon. So let's crack on, let's get them washed using the Topaz products that we received the other day. Speaking of Joe Achilles, he left here the other day in the Mercedes SLS Black Series. Now you may remember when we very first moved in, Tim had a bit of a whoopsie on the floor with the Senna. Well, Joe has done exactly the same with the Black Series and left 2 black lines on the floor. So thank you very much for that one, Joe. That's something else I now need to try and clean up. As mentioned, we've recently received a load of products from Topaz in order to keep the cars as they need to be, looking fresh and clean. And we've got a few of them here. We've got our wheel cleaner, our quick detailer, which we can use just for wiping down the cars. We've also got our luxury shampoo here, and we've also got a few other bits here. We've got the glass cleaner, we have the, that's more quick detailer, we've got the interior cleaner, as well as the tyre dressing down there, which obviously those will come into effect later in the washing process. We've also got our snow foam and our citrus pre-wash, which we've got some in a bottle here. We've got all of our buckets, even our Topaz branded wheel woolies, to keep those looking as good as they should be. So let's get all of this prepared, get outside, and let's start washing the M3. And here we have the M3 now getting the snow foam, which is super thick and actually lovely. It smells lovely too. So we're obviously going to let this dwell for a second. That's going to pull off the dirt that's on the surface. Then we'll get it rinsed and hit it with the shampoo. The M3 is now looking absolutely stunning thanks to the products that have been supplied by Topaz. We're just about to pull that one in and get it dried, but before we do, we're going to take Joe's outside and put it in the wash bay so we can swap them over. So if you come here and have a look, you'll see this one is considerably dirtier than Tim's one was, and is definitely going to be in need of this, and is going to be more of a challenge for the products that we've received. But I'm sure they'll do an absolutely fantastic job. We'll get this looking clean, and then Ali is going to take some photos of these two together. But obviously before we do, of course, living here, the car is on a C-Tech smart charger, just to make sure that it is going to be in good health whilst the guys are away on their trip. So we'll get this one disconnected, we'll get this outside, and we'll get them swapped round. And here we are with Grillez, all snow foamed. Ali's just rinsing it off now. And it's actually coming out really, really well, to be fair. So we're going to continue with this one, get this rinsed off, get this mitt washed, and then get this inside for the twin shoot. And just like that, we are finished. Joe's is looking absolutely stunning in the Portimao blue, as is Tim's in the Isle of Man green. Now we're going to very quickly take these out locally just to get a couple of photos. And Ali, I believe you're going to take Tim's.
Thank you.
I'm going to jump in Joe's, and we're going to go and get a couple of photos, and we'll bring them back here and do some shots in here as well. And we have made it back to the Shmuseum. Both M3s are now parked up next to each other on their C-Tech smart chargers, and very shortly I'm going to grab some covers and throw them over just to ensure they remain dust free. So that way, next time we want to take this out on most likely a team adventure, it's going to be lovely and clean, and Grillez is going to be ready for Joe once he gets back from the Black Series tour. Now, it's been a really random, sporadic day here at the Shmuseum, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed coming along. Obviously starting with Tony from Turbo Transport coming to collect the Huracan STO to get that over to Topaz so we can finally get that protected, get it out on the roads and start enjoying that glorious V10 and all of the noises that come with it. Next up, we had the Porsche Taycan on its way back to the dealer to finally get the windscreen replaced, followed by the V8 Vantage Roadster, which has now gone off to Whoops to have the wheels refurbed to their former glory, and most importantly, we can get the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres on there. And of course, we got these two cleaned, got them out for some photos. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed coming along on a bit of a random, crazy day. Whilst the Black Series content is coming from the Shmee 150 channel, I'm going to spend the rest of the week getting the rest of the cars cleaned up and getting as much done here with maintenance as we can, just so that when Tim gets back, we're good to go. So like I said, hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and until next time.